Well, this is an unexpected treat. The finals is an absolute blast. This game popped up on my radar out of absolutely nowhere. My family that I usually play with every night told me to download it. I did, and I never looked back. I only faintly remember an RAS stream of the game before I started playing it myself, and I didn't pay any attention to the gameplay until I got my hands on it. And me and my peoples got so addicted to it that in the midst of me struggling to start grinding other games like Doom Eternal and Remnant 2, and recently starting Red Dead Redemption 2 and Bloodborne, as well as finally picking Elden Ring back up, all while dealing with an Apex addiction, I managed to rack up about 50 hours in the finals before I knew it, having experienced all the modes and a majority of the gameplay content. Hell, I still haven't finished an Invasion season or experienced enough of the fighting system to review the rest of Mortal Kombat 1. Link to the campaign's review is going to be in the description. So unexpectedly, I'm ready to review this game before all those other games. No doubt down to the tactical but chaotic gameplay, the cool game show bank robber aesthetic and theme, the great graphics, simple but catchy music, and the sizable roster of guns and equipment to unlock and try are also contributing factors to my liking of this game. Truly a unique first-person shooter that I'm happy to share my opinion on. Dare I say one of my all-time favorites? Not that I have much experience with first-person shooters or shooters in general, but at this point, I can personally say that this game is just that damn good! I'm contestant P34J of the Retros, and this is my review of the finals. So get ready, folks, because this is about to be one slobber knocker of a match. And as per usual with multiplayer portions of, or in this case, multiplayer only games, we're going to start off with gameplay because that's the most important part, obviously. Then we're going to talk about the content in terms of cosmetics, unlockables, and monetization. The basic objective across the board is to open these small cubed vaults, collect the money, and insert them into a deposit to score points, traveling across the map as you do so. The main jazz of the game is in teams of 3, but there was recently a solos mode added. I'll go into more detail about the modes later, as I want to start by talking about the combat loop in general. The guns, classes, physics, objectives, equipment, and spawning system all make for a chaotic combat system where staying alive is very important. The guns in this game don't feel hard to use in mid to close range, but in longer ranges, the automatic weapons can be as challenging to use as they are in Apex Legends due to the recoil patterns. Some guns have better hipfire accuracy than others. I personally have a lot of trouble hipfiring the F-guard. The sniper rifle has a random spread when hipfiring, but when scoped, is about as easy to use as the sniper is in Halo historically. No bullet drop, fast travel time. It feels hit scan. But it doesn't one-shot most enemies, so it's pretty balanced, especially in quick cash or tourney, where it's harder to protect the cash out at range. Now I was looking at the damage stats for each weapon from this Reddit user, and it seems like ease of use is a factor among deciding which weapons have the faster kill times within each class, but when it comes to comparing weapons of different classes, effective range takes priority. I think this is done to give each gun a fair shake against others in their same class, relying on the skill of each player in an encounter to decide the victor, but also to make capturing the objective challenging by forcing the player to play at the effective range of their gun in order to clear out the objective. Because if ease of use was any more of a factor between gun classes, a team would just be able to easily clear out the cash out every time. The best example I can use for this is OG Halo, where the CE pistol, battle rifle, or even the sniper rifle always had a chance to outclass other easier to use guns like the AR Needler in close to mid range because of the potentially faster kill times. If the sniper rifle in the finals were able to outclass SMGs, pistols, shotties, LMGs, and melee weapons in close to mid-range in terms of potential time to kill, then a skilled enough team would just be able to run snipers and immediately wipe every enemy out in sight. That's why the sniper isn't a one-shot kill, because it doesn't have to be effective in its range. There's a shotgun and a dagger that can potentially one-shot some enemies, but you gotta get real close, and the chance of you doing that multiple times consecutively without dying are slim to none. The weapon sandbox seems designed around the objective, and the objective is designed around teamwork. There are some pretty unique weapons in this game, like the sword, the dagger, and Triple H's insurance policy, the sledgehammer. And boy, do I have a story about that motherfucker. This is also the only FPS I played where you can only use one weapon at a time, not counting the reserve, which is a testament to how interesting the sandbox and gameplay really are. The time to kill for non-light characters is pretty long compared to other FPS, especially for heavy, which is like Halo level time to kill. So the game is pretty forgiving for mistakes that don't lead to taking a high amount of DPS. But team shots and explosives can and will absolutely fuck you. Taking a combination of turret, gas, and or fire damage will also put you in an early grave. Respawn timers are pretty long in this game, but luckily when you die, you leave a trophy on the ground so long as one of your squad mates is still alive. Your team can grab this trophy, put it in a safe spot, and initiate a respawn, which takes about 5 seconds. Medium class contestants can equip a defibrillator, which allows for an instant respawn, but only with about half health. You even get temporary invulnerability after a respawn, for about 0.75 seconds at the time of writing. This can turn the tide in your team's favor and grant the potential to reverse for a team wipe. While the high margin for error in combat does allow for escapes and reversals, especially when combined with certain specializations, death is highly punishable in this game, as the respawn timer on a full team wipe is like 20 some seconds long. So if you die and you have 1 second left on your respawn timer, but the last person alive on your team gets 86'd, then the whole team gets 20 seconds added to their respawn timer, including you. So you're gonna be dead for like 30 seconds. That is an eternity in this game, especially when playing cash out mode, where half a minute is about half the time needed to cash out a vault's cheese. Stack that with the time it takes to travel back to the cash out on respawn and the 8 seconds it takes to steal the cash out, then you've pretty much lost the cash out if that timer is anything less than 2/3 full. Avoiding this fate is why it's always important to play life and use teamwork, and although that's easier said than done, the game gives you plenty of tools to do this. So let's talk about those tools. First, we'll start with the 3 classes. Lights have the fastest movement but the lowest health. Heavies have an astronomical amount of health, but the slowest movement. And mediums have... You take a guess, genius. Each class has a specific set of weapons and equipment. Lights have mostly close-range weapons, but they have a few mid-range weapons and the only sniper rifle in the game. Mediums have mostly mid-range weapons, but a close-range shotgun and a riot shield. Heavies have half close-range guns and half mid-range guns, but those 2 LMGs obviously have high recoil. That M60 is just ass though, like, stick to the Lewis gun. On the whole, in terms of size, the gun selection is about average, but this has to be the most equipment I've personally seen in a game besides Fortnite and maybe Call of Duty. Gas, explosion, pyro, and glitch each have grenade and mine forms, but even so, there's still a slew of equipment. Tracking darts, goo grenades, jump pads, the stun gun, breach charges, protective walls, bubble shields, zip lines, and the heavy exclusive RPG. There's also the medium exclusive aforementioned defibrillator. You'd be hard pressed not to find a medium using this equipment, as it can quickly turn the tide of a battle. Each class has a choice of 1 to 3 specialization abilities. The light specializations are based around traversal and or avoiding damage in combat. The grapple hook, evasive dash, and cloaking device. Combat wise, The cloak is probably the safest bet and most efficient, but my personal favorite is the dash because it just feels so fast and buttery smooth, just like it is in Halo. Only this one gives you 3 charges before cooldown, so you can almost play the game like the Doomslayer. You just gotta be careful with your small amount of health. The medium specializations are meant to give the team an edge in an area of combat. The healing being allows the user to heal teammates in close proximity from incoming damage. Hold on. Wait a minute. The turret is used for area control, but as mentioned earlier, can be pretty lethal against low health enemies or enemies taking damage from multiple sources. The recon ability allows you to track enemies through walls. The heavy's abilities are based around compensating for their slow movement to defend themselves and or their teammates. The mesh wall is a defensive shield that protects from frontal damage. The goo gun can either be used to set up an area or directly block an enemy's spray. And then there's the charge and slam, which can be used to smash enemies and destroy walls. I haven't seen anything this epic since the bayonet charge from Battlefield 1. Now on to map design. I've said this before, I'm no guru when it comes to map design, as I've had some colossal failures trying to create my own maps in Halo's Forge. But I can point out the aspects that I like about the maps and that I dislike and that I notice the most, just like I did with Apex Legends and my review for that. Link's gonna be in the description. I'll start by saying these maps are big for only 9 to 12 people, but somehow the size of these maps doesn't slow down or detract from the gameplay, which is a testament to how everything has been designed around the objectives. The vaults and cash outs are constantly the center of attention, as they should be, moving to various points of the map throughout the match. You typically spawn far enough from the objective for traversal to be an urgent matter, but close enough to make it easy to get into the action. The objective forces at least one member of each team, but most of the time it's full teams, to gravitate towards it to win. And that to me is what mainly dictates the flow of the maps. I haven't seen any full overhead layouts of any of the maps, and I don't have them memorized, but from my experience and from looking up some videos on the maps on YouTube, I think that while the objectives pull in the encounters, the different environments that house the objectives throughout the match do significantly affect the encounters. Las Vegas 2032 has a bunch of big buildings with wide spaces both inside and on the roofs. Monaco 2014 has some grounded, wide open spaces, as well as a bunch of small buildings that turn into hot boxes. Seoul 2023 and Skyward Stadium both have lots of verticality and places to accidentally jump off maps. Lol. But what stands out to me the most about the map design is how dynamic it is. It's a stark contrast from Halo Infinite, and it honestly stands out from anything I've played. First, there are so many interactive elements on the map. As far as traversal, there are zip lines, ladders, indoor and outdoor elevators, jump pads, and gravity lifts. As far as entry options, there are doors, vents, breakable glass, or the one that stands out the most, just flat out destruction. Almost every building in the game can be destroyed, the only game I've played of its kind besides Fortnite. But this feels completely different. Putting holes in a building can completely change the accessibility of the objective. You can blow up stairs to make it harder for enemies to approach, or your team can set up against and target multiple entry points with guns, traps, and turrets. The physics of the pieces are absolutely phenomenal, having to walk in a pile of rubble to get to the cash out. Sometimes the rubble inadvertently provides cover for whoever is stealing the cash. Other times, I have been completely buried and immobile, unable to move, for at least a few seconds. And that's live! Hey, if I won't get stuck in the same place in a game and possibly screwed out of the objective or whatnot, I prefer it to happen in a live fashion like this. I'm not going to complain about this. Keep that in the game. I don't know, man. This might be controversial for me to say, but like, just imagine you go to a cash out, you wipe out the enemy team, but somehow, some way, somebody activated a breach charge to trap the last one or two people that are left, and they can't do the cash out. Like, it's just a certain clutch factor to it, and a certain chaos factor to it that appeals to me. I would rather keep that in the game instead of trying to patch that. And it's rare too, so it's like, you can break zip lines to prevent a team from reaching a cash out at a high location, and the counter is to either throw a jump pad or zip line, or just blow that bitch down. One of the maps has a cash out station on an elevator, forcing the enemy team to lower it before they can steal, which takes some time. That same map has a station on a moving platform that can be difficult to board, especially without taking damage. Holding that spot is about as risky as holding the oddball in PD on streets in Halo Infinite. It can be a tough spot to steal, but if you lose control of the cash out, you're likely fucked on getting it back. You can also pick up small objects in different types of tanks, including goo, explosive, pyro, and gas. Lastly, each match has these different random events like alien invasion, meteor showers, mega damage, and low gravity. Just another aspect that adds to the beautiful chaos of the game. I want to talk about the visuals, music, and theme of the game for a second. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. This game looks way too good for it to only be about 10 gigs. Embark Studios must be some sort of magical wizards when it comes to the art of file compression, because this game looks phenomenal. And no, not just for a small project, it looks like a AAA game. The lighting, the detail of the environments, the character models, the grass, the shiny weapons, they all look pretty damn realistic. And I like the overall aesthetic of the game. The game show video game bank heist theme is a pretty cool atmosphere. The team names are pretty fun as well. Go Retros. And the announcer makes a bunch of corny puns throughout the match. And the music, while pretty simple, does add to that atmosphere. And in my opinion, it's pretty catchy. I'm the type of guy that easily gets impressed by music. I'm the type of guy that's gonna bop my head if I hear a consistent rhythm from a car alarm or a dishwasher. That's just kind of my silly nature. But me personally, I'm heavily vibing with the music in this game. I tend to get hyped when my song comes on, like the one that goes like dun 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 dun. It's just montage worthy. Like, let's do it. It's like, listen, he come in. He say, listen to what he say. He say. Oh, man, this thing is hard, man. Come on, man. The cash out song makes me want to randomly rap for no reason. I'm standing on business protecting the cash out. Enemies is coming about to lash out. They approaching they fast. I'm medium class, that's why I got turrets and gas on their ass. I quit. I'll play it. No more. For now. And the song that plays when a team is near victory / in the post-game lobby is a song that will fill me with nostalgia 10 years from now. It's already stuck in my head as we speak. Spoiler alert, that is going to be the last song that you hear in this video after I get done with the conclusion and you see the other videos that I'm going to link pop up on the... It's going to be on the end screen, definitely. Yeah, watch this. I'm going to do it. In order for me to transition into discussing content, I actually have to start with describing the fine line between gameplay and content. The modes. The mode that's being played will significantly affect the pacing and traffic flow of the map. There are two main objectives, cash out and bank it. In cash out, the main objective is to open the vault, physically carry the cash to the cash out station. It can also be thrown in there. And protect the station from enemies until the timer runs out to claim your cash. Enemy teams are to invade the premises and steal the cash out, which requires one to stand near it for about 8 seconds. This leaves you highly vulnerable to incoming fire, so you have to make sure you are absolutely clear before you steal, unless it's a last-ditch effort with no time on the cash out left. This is my preferred mode because of the way the match flows and the strategies that can be employed. Vaults turn into absolute traps, and cash outs turn into absolute mosh pits, with grenades, turrets, gunfire, gas, explosions, you name it. And it all revolves around the objective, with everyone vying to win. The only time I've seen people play for kills is during post-cash out brawls or sniping from afar. The latter is rare. The cash out objective forces everyone to play the game to win. It doesn't matter how good your KD is or how well you were performing earlier in the match. If it's not contributing to the team here and now, it's not going to get you the dub. It doesn't matter how far behind you are in score. If you still got time, you still got a chance. Hell, there was a game where my teammates and I were getting absolutely slaughtered, mainly by some heavies. One guy was using the grenade launcher to blow up buildings from afar, and another was decimating us using the sledgehammer. Our KDs were extremely negative, and the other teams had guys with like 8k damage, 14 bodies. We got absolutely fucked that game. Guess what? We won! And it wasn't because the other teams weren't playing objective, they were cashing out and stealing, and all that chaos took place around the cash out. Honestly, it's one of the most absurd strokes of luck I've ever seen in a game. To slither away with a victory after such a relentless ass whooping. I kinda felt demoralized about my performance, feeling that we didn't deserve the victory. But upon further inspection, that game fully highlights the nature of the game. It's like when Kurt Angle won that Armageddon Hell in a Cell by the skin of his teeth. Not saying I prefer to win like that, but it just goes to show that anything can happen, and you should never lose sight of the goal. Cash Out has 3 variants. Quick Cash is first to 2 scores between 3 teams of 3. Tournament Mode has 3 brackets featuring 4 teams of 3 in 2 matches with a time limit and limited respawn coins that allow you to respawn without a revive or a team wipe. Top 2 teams qualify for the next round. It ends with an epic encounter between 2 teams of 3, best 2 of 3, to crown the champions. Ranked tourney is the same, but with 3 rounds before the final showdown, and you can't switch reserve items throughout the match. Bank It is a mode with 4 teams of 3 where there are multiple vaults, but this time opening them drops a bunch of coins on the ground. Killing enemies also grants you coins. You don't physically carry the coins, so you're free to use your gun. This time, instead of defending the cash out, you take the money to a deposit, and it takes like 6 to 8 seconds for you to stand there and complete the deposit to score. In this mode, the traffic is a little bit more spread out, and teams have a bit more room to separate, but it's still not recommended. You know, this is a team game at the end of the day, except for one mode. There is also a solo mode for this game that was recently introduced, and although I absolutely suck at it, it's still pretty fun. Finally, there is a tutorial and a training room that gives you access to all the tools in the game, kind of like the first Apex training room. There might not be a bunch of modes in this game, but again, similar to Apex, the quality of what we have here is undeniable. Now the rest of the content. Guns, specializations, and equipment can only be bought using an in-game currency that is earned through gameplay, and there's a decent number of tools to mix for your loadout. The reserve gives you a limited number of items to switch out on respawn during a match. As far as cosmetics, the character customization is decent enough, not too detailed. You can't choose custom colors for anything though, which kinda sucks. The skins are pretty alright for this game, with a decent variety and some wackiness. That boxing skin with the hood and the name on the back of the jacket, that's hard as fuck though, I can't even hold you. You can also equip sounds, emotes, sprays, and other cool options. Only thing you can buy with real world money is cosmetics, and they aren't egregious in pricing either. I only seen like one skin that's over 20 bucks. The Battle Pass looks like it's got a decent amount of content in it. I haven't bought it yet, but I looked at the track. And they don't make you buy a large surplus of coins in order for you to get the items that you want. Finally, I can't believe we've gotten to the point to where I have to say this and point this out. It should have never been this in the first place, but there are no loot boxes in this game. I don't have many complaints with the game, but I'll list a few that I have here. As mentioned earlier, custom colors for hair and outfits would be nice, but I don't think that's going to change for monetization reasons. Then there's that cap for the number of coins you can hold at once for unlocking equipment. You don't have to force me to use the coins like that. Let me use them when I want to use them. This honestly feels like some bullshit they're going to try to monetize later, and I will have my eye out for that. Obviously, there's some sandbox balance changes that need to be made, but the game just came out and they've already patched it like 2 or 3 times, so they're on that. Now on to bugs and glitches. First, we gotta start out with the glitch grenade in the mine. Now, these are intentional game mechanics, but technically they are glitches. So I gotta put them in the negative column, and by that logic, the stun gun has to go in there because it glitches your equipment. It is what it is, man. Nope. Hey, man. I don't make the rules. Alright, jokes aside, though. The real equipment I'm going to complain about is the defibrillator. As a guy who dies frequently, I've been unfortunate enough to see my teammates attempt to defib me just for the shock to have no effect. I'm not sure if this is a bug or if the defib requires pinpoint accuracy like the precision looting in Apex Legends, but either way it's bullshit. There was this one time I got stuck on a random part of the map for like no reason. Lastly, the big cuzzo Lotogram sent me this funny glitch where my heavy had short arms. Pretty funny, not gonna lie. But I've rarely encountered these problems, except for the defib thing, that's irregular. And none of them are game breaking. My last criticism is that the game feels sweaty to the point to where playing without a full squad can be a complete disaster. Not too much of a complaint for me, as I am willing to get my ass whooped as many times as it takes to get good at any game I play, but I can see how that can turn off the general population. In conclusion, the finals offers a whole new spin on the FPS genre with its objective-based modes, 3 classes, and 3-man teams. A lot of Apex influence here. It's got a great sandbox, good map design, and phenomenal physics that come together to create this wonderful dome of strategic death and destruction. The graphics are great, the UI graphics are simplistic yet bold and appealing, and the game doesn't try to nickel and dime you to hell. Nope. All there is to see here is a quality experience. I'd heard and read that the developers of this game actually came from DICE, the creators of Battlefield. That adds up because this game does feel AAA quality, and I do hope to see this game grow. It's performed pretty well at launch, and it's performing well at the moment. So let's hope this trend continues because Embark Studios has struck a gold mine. And that is my review of the finals. At the moment, I am currently grinding multiple games. Red Dead 2, Remnant 2, Bloodborne, and Elden Ring, all at once. It's giving me a decent challenge, and I'm pushing myself to expand my gaming experiences. I also recently just finished the base story mode to Doom Eternal, and I've also checked out the battle mode and horde mode. But I just bought the expansions to that game, and I want to finish those before I give a full review on that game. I also have to finish playing MK1 so I can make the part 2 to that review. Let me know what you thought of this review in the comments below. I'll have my past reviews on Apex Legends and Mortal Kombat 1's campaign linked in the description and at the end of this video. This has been P34J. I'm trying to avoid a team wipe for the retros. Have a good one. Got the hammer on me, you can call it hammer time. Get extreme like we fighting in the Hammerstein. I'm commanding all my enemies, you better die. We about to win, I proclaim it and I never lie. Team out to kill, how do you feel? Know we about to win it and y'all live it that we live it? Win this thrill, about to seal the deal. Aim at her with the M11, tell them it's been real.